Hello, this is saxophonist Antonio Parker, and this is a conversation in jazz, where we are promoting jazz through telling the stories. Today, we are presenting part 2 of our interview with the great pianist, keyboardist, producer, engineer, composer, and educator, Mr. Vince Evans. We ask you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so we can let you know when we are posting another video or going live. We also ask you to donate to our Cash App in order to support the channel and help us to produce future videos. Our Cash App is $Jazzology 101. That's $Jazzology 101. Enjoy the video. All right, we're back. This is a conversation in jazz, and we're talking to the wonderful Mr. Vince Evans. Brother Vince, woo.
My man.
Man, you gave us a lot on that first part. And we gotta go to this part might get even heavier.
Okay.
Okay, so
bring it on.
Let's talk about a little bit about our African tour that we did. I think we did a piano sax duo. What countries did we visit? We went to
we went to Casablanca. We went to Morocco. We went to Marrakesh. We went to Rabat. We went to Tunisia.
Tunisia, yeah.
We went to Kinshasa. We went to
Zaire. Congo.
Brazzaville.
Nigeria. I know
we were in Nigeria.
Ghana.
In Ghana, yeah, Accra.
Togo,
Zaire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You did a lot of places, man.
That was my first time on the continent. Was that your first time?
No.
Man, that was my first time.
It wasn't my first time.
And
I had been to Senegal.
Okay, wow. Man, that was such a memorable experience for me. And not only just visiting Africa for the first time, but I think I got a chance to really get to know you.
Because we had to travel together, right? We had close quarters, man.
Yeah, from the at the airport. I think I was in line, and I remember you came, since we were coming together, you came and got where I was. And
okay.
I guess somebody behind us thought you were busting in front of them. And you had to explain that we're together. And you said, do you want to beat me up? I said, oh man, I said, this is going to be interesting.
I don't remember that, but I believe I would have done. That sounds like something I would have said.
But it was great for me having a cat like you because, man, you were articulate. You did all the talking. You did,
except for one time.
Yeah.
There's one time I bowed out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Is that when you got?
I got sick in Rabat.
Yeah, I remember.
And I told you, I said, Antonio, I'm pulling the plug. I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
I don't care who calls. I don't care who does what. I'm not coming to the phone. I'll see you at the show.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I unplugged everything and then promptly got the sickest I've been in my life. Man, I was like, trying to plug the phone back up. Antonio, please call somebody. They had to come in the room and get me.
Yeah. But watching you made that easy for me.
Made what easy for you?
Being that, because at the time, man, I mean, I had this fear of public speaking. I'm like, So,
right. Yeah. Because I was so outgoing.
Yeah, sitting back, watch how you did it.
Right. Yeah.
I said, okay. So I was watching you and learning. So you were more like a mentor in a way.
Yeah. Well, that's probably just come from I had been so many places.
Yeah.
And already, for me, seeing other cultures and seeing other stuff and all that, it was like.
Yeah. So that was a crazy experience, man. And
I have some of those tapes actually. I have the performance at the Musan Center.
Okay.
On
I know you have them on VH. We got to get them on digital.
Yeah, I can digitize it.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. You were killing on that tour, man.
Yeah, it was just one thing I learned about that tour, man. Number one, I thought we had a great chemistry. Mm-hmm. Because I stayed in my lane, and you had your lane, and it was all, and it worked out. Mm-hmm. And so it was just incredible experience, man. What were some of the memorable moments of that whole tour that sticks out to you?
Well, for one, man, remember that school we went to in North Africa, somewhere in North Africa, in Casablanca, I think it was. And them kids, we did a blues, and I made up some stuff about the kids and all that. And they sent me, I have to show it to you. I have all the drawings that they did. And they had you and your saxophone and me and my keyboard. Oh, they had all the kids do drawings and stuff. I still held on to those things.
Wow. That's cool, man. And we were treated like diplomats, man. We were, it was like a 6-week tour. Mm-hmm. And man, I mean, I was like,
mostly.
You didn't have to worry about. I was giving money away to people. I mean, we got.
Man, remember when we went to Nigeria and the exchange was so crazy? Yeah. And like $10 was like a box of money. So we had. It wasn't but about $200 between us, but it looked like we had billions of dollars. We just threw all the money on the bed. We're just like, I'm rich. We're rich. Yeah. We're rich.
Oh man, that was.
Like.
I'm gonna tell you. One of the things that I got.
That's the only time I ever got paid in boxes. You ever get paid? I got paid in coins before. I got them little church envelopes before. That's the first time somebody said, "Y'all, let me get your payment. We're here with your payment." It's like
Floyd Mayweather ain't got nothing on us, boy. He was making it rain. But because we were taken care of, and I mean. One thing I learned, man, and you saw, we've been in some place where people were living in some desperate situations. Oh, and I would sneak and give people, some money, American money. Mm-hmm. And man, the joy that brought, like, I remember one time we were riding somewhere and these little girls were selling fruit or something, man. I think I gave it like a $20 bill, $20 bill, and they were doing that, man.
You could buy a whole shop for $400.
But it just made me feel so good, man. It made me really understand the joy you get from giving and not just receiving. Yeah. And so, that was one of the things I learned from that experience that I took away. And you couldn't let people see you give nobody no money.
That's true. That's still true now.
Yeah, you had to like.
You can't let nobody see you earn it either.
Yeah. So, but that was.
You ain't had to go that far to get that feeling. No, hopefully you brought that back with you and still.
Oh yeah.
Enjoy that giving. You can enjoy it right now if you want to. Let's rekindle your enjoyment of it. Let me hold a few.
And another memory, man, I had being in that airport. Was that Nigeria, man? It was like we at the airport.
No, I know you.
Was that Congo?
Congo, unmistakably
that was
Congo. Yeah. They said, "Do you have any questions?" I said, "Only one. When are we leaving?" That was nuts.
That was Congo.
That was nuts.
It was
People were fighting in that little tiny room.
Yeah, man. You see the door over there, and you try.
And we were expedited. Could you imagine if we weren't being expedited?
Man, that was a crazy experience.
Man,
and then the guy wanted me to open my case. And
every 2 inches, somebody wanted some money.
Yeah, and you said, "Oh, I get," But it was, and Congo, I believe, was where we got to talk about. We got this on film. We got to show that.
With the magic guy.
On this tour, you were deep into your magic. You were and you
I still am.
Yeah, and man, we were in Congo at a hotel. Once we got in it, but the cat could not allow himself to be fooled.
Well, let me explain this.
Okay.
As a magician, that's always an uncomfortable situation. Uh-huh. I do a trick for you. You got this kid like mine. You just saw something that you never saw before. You're like, oh man, that was fantastic. Hang on, let me go get my best friend. Yeah. You got to see this. Show my friend. Show my friend. And your friend is just like, he just wants to show that he's smarter than you.
Yeah.
That you're not going to fool me too. So he's bracing himself in a position. Yeah. And it's like, he has no idea. I've been studying this since I was 6, 7 years old.
Wow.
I'm 55. If I want to fool you, I probably can succeed at it. Uh-huh. But it won't be any fun for either of us.
Yeah.
You know, because you'll feel like blah, or you have to pretend you're not astonished.
Yeah.
You know, and what am I going to get out of it? It's like, I don't need to fool you to know that I know my craft. The whole idea is to be fooled and to have fun being that, you know.
Yeah, but this guy,
but then you have that other dynamic, though, man. That African dynamic. They want to show that you Black Americans aren't as smart as us Africans. We're going to show.
Oh, wow.
You know, you have your technology, you have all this stuff, and then all this, and we're not stupid. Yeah. I'm going to show you. So, doing magic for Africans, man, you can't just do a trick with a cat right here. I had Africans under me, behind me, under my collar. No, just go ahead, do the trick. You have a trick. Just ignore me. Go ahead, do the trick. It's like, man, we can't do the trick with you like in my face like this, man. It's like, go ahead, just do the trick. It was hilarious.
And you know, it was funny because I was videotaping it. And like, I'm trying to not laugh. And the guy,
and you were making it worse. You were instigating because the guy was trying. He kept trying to be serious. It is not there. It is not there. And he was like, and you already knew because you had seen the trick 1,000 times before. You already know.
And you were like, wait a minute. You were like, wait a minute. These are my tricks. You know, and man, he got so frustrated, and he storms out, and all you see is the back of his head,
and you laughing, the camera just shaking. You can't hold the camera still.
Man, it was man.
But the other place I remember was when you get around them pushed up people, man. Like when we was at the Musan Center, we went on that thing at that real fine restaurant, and I had to give you the elbow, man. I was like, they were like, what do you want? He said, and you were like, man, I think I'm gonna try this chocolate mouse. Man, shut up, man. That's moose, man. That's not mouse. Oh, let me do the talking, man. Just tell me in my ear what you want, man. I ain't no mouse. You embarrassing me, man. I'm gonna try this chocolate mouse right here. That sound good. Like, man.
Oh, man.
But that place, everybody was so proper and up, and we had that piano with the extra notes there, and the whole extra octave down there, and we had just been performing at the Musan Center, and all these Africans were around, and I did a cigarette vanish, right? I took this lady's lit cigarette, and when I put it in his hand to vanish it, I deliberately did this, and did this, and like nobody was impressed at all. Everybody was just like, we know it's in the other hand, and I just kept doing like this, like trying to get rid of it, and they acting like they not burning my hands, but they all just staring at my hands like this, and then after a while, I just reached for my glass of wine. And everybody's jaw said, just went to the floor like, you know.
Yeah, that was, oh, God, man, that was some fun.
Got him.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Now, to me, the highlight.
Oh, man, let me tell you this for a second, man. I had to learn to improvise as a magician. In the most hostile of situations, I mean, in terms of being found out, you know.
Yeah.
The thing is, the psychological thing, right? I don't really care about what you see. I care about what your mind sees, what you process. So I had to realize in the heat of the moment that here I have all this pressure on me, and they really, really want to find me out. Yeah. And they really want to pull my pants down. Yeah. And show I'm just a hack magician. Yeah. And I've just made these coins vanish, and typically I have something in my hand that I'm not supposed to have in my hand at the end, right?
Yeah.
But typically, I have 1,000 ways to ditch that. But it isn't until in that moment when you're surrounded by those Africans that you realize that the outfit that you wear, you can't find them pockets.
Wow. Yeah.
When you got on them things like that.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
You got to find that pocket like.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
There's the pocket.
Yeah.
So there's no way. And it's not until I'm at the end of the trick and I'm out there and I'm naked, I realize that I got something in my hand I'm not supposed to have in my hand, and I can't get to my pocket.
Wow.
So I had to do it in such a way that no one would question that my hand was in. No one, if one person had said, let me see your hand, it would have been fooled. But I made it so out of all of those people, the most astute people, the most astute observers, nobody even asked a question, and I got away clean free. And that's when you really be like,
wow, that's heavy, man.
Yeah.
And you had magic books, you were studying. It was like, it's like, God, this cat is serious, but wow. We got to talk about when we were at Lagos.
Yes, sir.
And at the shrine.
Yes, sir. That's probably the most favorite part of my entire career, man, in terms of musical development, in terms of really being blown away by something.
Yeah.
You can't really even tell people about that experience.
Yeah. We're going to try.
But the Nigerians know. When you say you played at the shrine with Fela, they know.
Yeah. But it was the moment. It was, now, I didn't know who Fela was at the time. Fela Kuti.
Oh, I knew.
Yeah. So I was just going along, okay. You know, I mean, this all was new for me.
Yeah, even Dede Mabiako, remember Dede, the horn player?
Yeah.
All those cats, man, they...
Yeah. But we get to Lagos. Mm-hmm. It's pitch black.
Yes, it is.
I mean, no light. We go and people see we got in a car. We was in a Jeep or whatever, and they surrounded the car.
That's right.
You know, so one thing I learned from the hood is not to show fear. Mm-hmm. You know, because my hood instinct kicked in, so I was just like I was supposed to be there.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. There you go. And so we go in, and you smell marijuana, people smoking this stuff. Mm-hmm. Just like, and man, you see the ladies.
A whole nother world. Remember the scene in Star Wars with the aliens? It was like that.
Yeah,
wasn't
man,
it? Like walking to that alien bar.
Yeah, it was like
the naked women in the cages.
Yeah.
On the sides.
You got the two women on the side of the jump, man, and then you got the band on the stage.
Yep.
And man, and they playing, and it was just powerful. And the audience, I'm gonna tell you, and then we get to sit in, right? Man, I think that I was screaming through that saxophone because I felt like the ancestors was.
Oh yeah, sure.
You know, and the audience was right there with you, man.
I have the report. I have it on my website. If you go to vinceevans.com,
really,
and you go on the press release, there's the press release from Lagos it says Lagos by Moonlight.
Wow.
The thing that they had put out then.
Wow.
It was so powerful. I put it out on my site.
I wish somebody could have recorded that moment, man.
Yeah, you got to read that. But that's a recording would kill it, man.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
And man, and we're playing. We got this. It's almost like remember Africa Brass, John Coltrane.
Oh yeah.
And they're playing, man, and we sit in, man. Fela, he has his mic. I think he was playing Barry, and man, we sit in, and it was just the audience, man, was just It was. I'm gonna tell you the closest thing to that I felt, that synergy between the musicians and the audience was with Chuck Brown and Go-Go. Mm-hmm. It's like this connection. They like
absolutely.
Yeah, that's the closest that I felt. That thing that we felt that night with
I agree.
And man,
that was really something, man.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, you talk to cats now and they get it. Yeah, I got a crow. I got this and I got this and I'm thinking about getting this pedal and all this. And it's like, man, you don't know where I've been, man. I mean, those there's not an instrument that didn't have some duct tape or a string. Or a piece of wire, a piece of wire that came off the stove, taping the key together. It looked like the Cosby Band, right? It's like, man, you look like that. It's like I know these cats can play.
Yeah, man, it was heavy.
Because all their instruments was raggedy.
But they were making music,
and they was killing it.
It was something, man. And then, so I think we get out there, man. We was up 4 or 5 in the morning, and so the band.
Yep.
Creates 2 lines.
That's right.
And we're in the middle, and they're escorting us back to our vehicle.
All the walk back.
Yeah, and they walking sideways.
Right.
And it was like.
But you said you have that same thing here I can go to any club here. Mm-hmm. If I say I'm in Chuck Brown's band.
Yeah.
It's like this is Chuck's town.
Yeah.
Any DC police officer, whatever, say right this way, sir.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same thing,
man. And I think on the way back, man, we were just quiet. It was like we were trying to process. Back to the hotel, man.
Yeah. We came to the hotel, put our bags, and went straight to the airport.
Yeah. It was
light.
Yeah, man.
It was dark when we went. It was light when we came back.
That was our last day there, right?
That was the last day.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was wonderful, man.
That was an experience I will never forget. Yeah, that was and I can't even explain it to people, man. But yeah, man, that was another highlight of that tour, man. Is I think we were in Togo at a club, and this cat was singing, playing guitar, and he sounded like Otis Redding, and
Sure.
And he also sounded like Ray Charles in a way. Yesterday, I mean, it couldn't speak a word of English.
That's right.
Off the stand.
Yeah.
He spoke French.
That's right.
And it was. I'm like, wow. So man, that experience. I'm glad we got to experience that together. But we cannot talk about the African tour and not talk about our chess matches. Now I play ghetto chess, right?
I think what happened is you got overexhausted on that tour, and you took a little nap, and you came back, and you thought about the last chess game, and then you just went into Wonderland, and then you dreamed that you had a match and you beat me. Because I do not recall this match at all. No.
Man, hey, let me tell the fans. He was kicking my butt every which way from Sunday.
Yeah, we played some chess on that tour.
Yeah,
we did.
And I got one game, and that one game.
You retired after that. I ain't played chess with you since.
Oh man, but that was a great tour, man.
Let's play a game right now, man. Let's show them how you did it.
And when we went to Morocco, what about that tea? You loved it.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
What was that?
It was a red ginger that they made.
Yeah.
They call it I can't think of it at the moment.
And you ordered some of that stuff.
Oh yeah, I had it sent back here, and I made it here. I asked them how to learn how to make it, and I made it in my apartment.
Wow. You also went back.
You came to my apartment and had some of that.
Yeah.
It was just like Morocco,
Yeah.
just like Marrakesh.
Yeah.
The markets in Marrakesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And after we got back, you also went back and performed at Morocco, didn't you?
No, it wasn't Morocco. That was Tunisia.
Tunisia.
Yeah, Tunisia and Gamar, Sidi Boussaid, those kind of places.
Okay, yeah. So you
Yeah,
got
me and Michelle Hammond.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How was that?
It was good. I learned a lot of culinary things there because we only playing for a few hours each night, 5 nights a week, and all the rest of the time is ours.
Okay.
So they had all these 5-star restaurants in there and all that, you know. So
wow.
They got free labor, and I got free help in learning the language and learning how you make these candy sculptures and how'd you plate this way and how'd you do that and learn how to respect measurements and stuff. Of course, everything was in French and then meters and liters and all of that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I learned a lot there.
Okay.
You know, as well as learning languages, you know, learning a little Tunisian Arabic, which I quickly learned was different from the Arabic that they spoke in Marrakesh, you know, because I thought I learned some stuff that came trying to impress them, like the Mesel Alaikum. No, we don't say that here. we talk like this around here, so it's like learning a whole nother dialect.
Wow.
You know,
that's great.
but it was fun.
So we're going to talk a little bit about your performing career. Now, you've performed with such celebrities as Prince, Phllis Hyman, Al Jarreau, George Benson, Eddie Murphy, MC Hammer, Joe McIntyre, Commission, Jonathan Butler, Pieces of a Dream, Bill Withers, Joe Albright, Luther Vandross, Lenny White, Layla Hathaway, Isaac Hayes, Patti LaBelle, Angie Stone, Chuck Brown, Diane Reeves, to name a few. And you
left out George
Kids.
Duke.
George Duke.
You left out Noel Pointer. You left out Grover Washington.
Wow. Didn't you do something with New Kids on the Block too?
No, that was David.
Okay.
That's how I got with Joe McIntyre, because David used to play with New Kids on the Block.
Oh, okay.
That's how we knew those. They were Boston cats.
Wow. Gotcha.
And then I used to do some production for Donnie, because before he became film star and all that, he was producing rap artists.
Wow.
And I was doing sample. I was one of the only ones in the area with sample technology.
So now you understand when I say, what is it like being Vince Evans? I mean, some people. The average person, man.
I know.
It's amazing, man. It's like, now, I want you to, out of all these wonderful people that you perform with, was there anyone that was special that you?
Sure, absolutely.
Who would you say?
One on the top of that list would be Larry Graham.
Wow, Larry Graham.
Larry Graham was absolute gentleman and most diplomatic musical director I've ever seen.
Wow. And
he was just the most giving. I mean, given that he was in the band Sly and the Family Stone at the height of their career, and that he had Graham Central Station, the man was no one more funky or qualified in that realm. But he wouldn't carry himself. like that. And I feel it makes me feel like if I can play with Larry Graham and Larry Graham can treat me with disrespect, how dare I disrespect local musicians or another gig that I'm on or whatever, man. I'm on the stage with royalty here.
Yeah.
You know, and it made me have an attitude, really, to be honest with you. I had secretly had an attitude towards seeing the way that Prince would behave with Larry. I'd be like, man, don't he know that's Larry Graham?
Yeah.
Even if this is your house, even if this is Paisley Park, that's Larry Graham you're talking to.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, it was that kind of thing. So definitely Larry,
Yeah,
and definitely...
I got to meet Larry. When I did a thing with Prince, he was hanging out at the studio, Paisley Park.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was beautiful. Him and his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, wow.
Yeah. But Eddie Murphy definitely has to go on that list. I know people don't consider Eddie Murphy being a musician, and he got a lot of flack for a record that he put out and all that. But you have to remember that in the height of his career, there were a lot of powers that did not want to allow for a successful Eddie Murphy music, anything, given how his success rate with films.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter that he had Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, or anybody else on the record or whatever. They're gonna stop this, and it's gonna be a big, a big thing. But Eddie, we did a tour. I can say we did a tour, a small tour of about 8 or 9 clubs, including the Montreux Jazz Festival. I have that. And Quincy Jones was there. Quincy kissed me on my forehead. Like, man, you don't do that over here. But no, we did this thing with Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy was always like very band oriented. I mean, if the family was getting together for 4th of July, the band's coming over for 4th of July. We got tickets to go see to see Muddy Wood, to see B.B. King. Anybody want to see B.B. King coming with us? You know, the band was very included, and I just had this conversation with a musician that we did a job in. It was a situation where the person that booked him for the gig tried to tell him is telling him, well, if you come back and do this gig, you can't bring this musician back because I don't like this musician, or I don't like what they did or whatever, you know. And I told him it reminded me of the time when I was out with Eddie. He was offered to do the David Letterman show with the stipulation that Paul Schaefer had to be in the band. And Eddie declined. He's like, no, this is my band.
Wow.
And I always respected him greatly for that.
Wow.
You know, like it or don't like it, but these are my people. This is my band. It's not about me being a star or me and Larry. This is what I'm bringing. You know, and there's something that needs to be said for the integrity of that. Because once you begin to let people dictate and to define for you who you are and what you are, it never stops. It keeps unraveling and unraveling. Then the next week, they telling you about the tie you got on. The next week, you got to come in the kitchen. And the next week, it's like...
Yeah, I remember you telling me. I remember telling me you had to, and with all respect, Phllis Hyman, that you had to let her, you kind of had to...
Yeah, she wasn't the only one. Many of them. Not many of them, but some of them, it was always behind closed doors. I had to stop and say, listen, nobody else is watching. Okay, it's just me and you. Look, honey, if you want to get another piano player, you're welcome to do that, but I'm not going to tolerate this, and this. So you make a choice. There's other gigs to be had.
Yeah.
You know, and even if they didn't, if they didn't apologize in person, when it came to the activity or whatever that was in question, they'd skip you. They wouldn't mess with me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a comedian, and I demanded that. You know, it's like any comedian, you know, trying to diss Paul Mooney. You don't mess with Paul Mooney. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
but and
that's what I strive to be. I want to be a Paul Mooney. I want to be a Richard Pryor. I want to be, you know, I want to be on that caliber of this is what I'm bringing to the table.
Gotcha. No doubt. Wow. Did you ever? So, this you might have just answered this. Did you ever feel intimidated by playing with these big names? Were you ever like?
No, not because of the name. There's one situation when I was out with Diane. To be honest, Billy Kilson got me on a gig with Diane Reeves, and I subbed for David Torkanowski for about maybe a year, a summer or something like that. And we went to a lot of countries and stuff like that. I did fine. I managed okay, but I always felt Diane is another one who her music spans quite a bit, from Afro-Cuban to Brazilian to all these different things. So I had to get with Doc Gibbs and learn different aspects of the rhythm and different aspects of the song. And I never felt really, really comfortable there, particularly when we would do real fast up-tempo bebop stuff. I couldn't think that fast.
At the time.
A lot of that, even now still to a certain degree, but a lot of that, it wasn't so much my fault. It was that Berklee training and turning everything into these set of chords and these available tensions and these non-available tensions and all that. My head's filled up with all that kind of stuff. I couldn't just free up. I didn't have the confidence to just really free up and play. I didn't have enough language under my belt to be confident in speaking. You know what I mean? And there were some things, and Diane is not a really musically literate person. She could say, well, this is what you need to do, or I want to have this flat 5 on this chord.
I got you.
You know, nobody in the band could tell me what I was doing wrong, and there was nothing that was just wrong. But it wasn't Billy Childs. You know, it wasn't what Billy Childs had done or what David has done, and that's who she had worked with extensively. And unless they came to the side and say, "Look, man, on this song, play this and play that," then I would have been cool. But I never got that, so all I got is just the chart. You know, so she had me come to her room, and I wrote about this in my book that never came out. And she had me come to her room, and she told me that she didn't really feel comfortable with something that I was doing, but she admitted herself that she couldn't tell me exactly what it was. But she had the patience to just deal with whatever I could do. But she just let me know that there's something there, but she didn't give me a hard time about it. You know, I can't improve it if you can't tell me what it is. But you know,
but you never.
I always greatly respected that. You know.
But you never was intimidated because of somebody's name, or I'm playing with Prince.
Oh, no, man, no. Because I've been around too many people, man. You know what I mean? You know.
Wow. Is there any artist that you wish you could have performed with, but never got a chance to work with?
I would probably used to say Stevie, but now I'm not missing Stevie so much. You know, but that was more in my youth. I mean, I'm 55 now, you know. You know, I would have liked to play with him. I would have liked to play with Frankie Beverly and Mays, you know. But those are the stuff that I came up on. I did play with Peabo. I did play with Jeffrey. I think I played with Jeffrey Osborne.
What about Michael Jackson?
I would have loved to play with. Yeah, sure, I would have loved to play with Michael. But that's not anything that I would have set out to do. You know what I mean? You know,
if it happened.
You probably don't know the story about Michael Jackson, but when I was out with Phyllis, remember, this ties back to Wayne Lindsay, right? When I was out with Phyllis, I had gotten the gig with Phyllis from playing with Pieces of a Dream. On like my second gig with her, we were booked at the Village Gate in New York. We had to do that week. And at that time, it wasn't a time when everybody had 2-3 keyboard players in a band. I was playing all of those her music is very keyboard based. I was playing all of them keyboards and singing backgrounds.
Wow.
You know? And so it's not like you can just call somebody to come in and do the gig. Right? Wayne Lindsay called and he said, listen, man, I have this tour for you set up. And he said, well, you already know Ricky and you've done all this other ghost work for me and stuff. Just come in and walk in and do it, man. It's for Whitney Houston. And I said, and Whitney was at the height of her career then. And I said, well, Wayne, he said, you have to come in on Saturday, you know. And that was the only, I couldn't not miss a gig and do it because of the time difference. So I thought about it and I said, man, well, even though that was a more prominent gig and all this, I said, man, let me call and see if Terry Burris will come back and do it. Terry left the key. He said, man, I ain't coming back. I ain't even telling you I got something to do. I'm just not coming back and doing it. I was like, Terry, please, you're the only cat that can do this. He's like, man, I love you, bro, but I'm not coming back.
Wow.
So when Terry refused to come back and do the gig, I turned down Whitney Houston.
Wow.
Because I felt like no matter who was at the height of their career, I wouldn't want to be on the stage and depend on a keyboard player and for them to just ditch me for whoever's hot at the moment. I felt like that was the right thing to do. So I declined the gig, and Wayne said, are you sure, man? I said, this is a big thing. I said, yeah, man, it just doesn't feel right. So he called Michael Bearden. You know, Michael's a little bit older than me. We've been in the same circles and all that. But Michael got the call after I did. Michael went right up there, got the gig with Whitney Houston.
Wow.
Went to Lady Gaga from that, went to Michael Jackson from that. That could have been my path.
Yeah. Wow.
And in that night that was in question that I would have had to miss, they had to cancel that show at the Village Gate anyway.
Oh.
Because Phyllis was in the room and high. They had to bust the door down to get in there and get her out of there.
Wow.
They had the police on mounted horses and stuff around the gate because the Village Gate was trying to tell people they couldn't get their money back, and there was no show. We had to sneak out the back because, you know, you with the band, get them. You know, that kind of thing. They had to cancel the show anyways. And I felt like I had more respect for her gig than she had for her own gig.
Was she aware?
No, she never knew. I never told her.
Okay.
And then a few months later, we were hardly working, you know. And then I'm seeing when Whitney did that thing for the coming home for the soldiers concert in Africa or whatever, and I'm seeing it televised, and I'm watching Michael Bearden take organ solos that I could have had. And I'm seeing his name go up in credits. It could have been my name, and I just called him up, man. I'm just like, yeah, Michael, man, you know. And he was like, bro, it's all, man. I understand, brother. It's all good. And to this day, Michael and I have always been like this. I could be playing at the Henley Park somewhere or whatever, and he's in town for this, that, or whatever, and he sees me there, he's mad respect, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Beautiful. One of them people that, even if you haven't talked to him for decades, it's just like you just talked to him yesterday. You just saw him yesterday, man.
Wow.
You know, beautiful cat. But, you know, the saying is the grass is always green on the other side, but you don't know what they putting on that grass to keep it green. You know?
That's right.
So my family's here. My parents are here. My dad just turned 90 this week. You know?
Wow.
And I live down the street from my parents.
Wow.
And I've not suffered. I'm not destitute because I decided to not move to New York or move to LA.
Yeah.
You know?
Beautiful. Well, yeah, you did. I think you did the right thing, man.
Yeah, I think so for me, for my spirit.
Now we're going to talk about you as a producer.
Okay.
Okay. Did you always have a dream of building your own studio? Because you have a full. Every time I come over your spot, man, you got new.
Something else.
Yes, and again, we're going back to when you were at
Department.
Yeah, an apartment. And actually, you got me started in production. And
Yeah.
you turned me on to Logic.
That's right.
You turned me on to
that little raggedy little sound card you had.
trying
to make it work.
And I used to come to you. I said,
You had Logic before Apple bought it, when it was still eMagic.
Yeah. And so I didn't know nothing about it, but you know, because I used to come to you and say, man, can you play the, you know? And so I said, well, let me learn how to do. You got me into Sibelius.
Yeah.
And so you were my go-to guy.
Good.
You know, to know what to get next. You know.
Yeah.
So did you have a intention of building your own studio?
Not exactly, but the thing is, okay, so we were trained in the 80s as engineers coming out of Berkeley when that was even starting to become a thing, right in the digital age of things dawning into the PCM digital age, right? So the big dream for most cats was to go off and become an engineer for CBS Records or for whatever record company, and you going and it's this ego thing involved. I mean, when I first got to the studio, I was like, man, look at all of these knobs and buttons. It's like, it's something, this part of your ego, like, I know what every knob does in here. You know, I know what every button and every slider does, and I know what everything is for. And it's like going in a doctor's office. You understand, you have an understanding that most lay people never have, and this is a kind of a charge in that, you know? And it's something to be like, I run the, I'm running the solid state Logic board at CBS Records. They have a $15 million studio and all this. But in my mind, it's like, but you don't own any of that. You going in and working for somebody else and coming home. You're running it. But you running somebody else's place. For me, it made more sense, especially when at the dawn of MIDI, right, musical instrument digital interface. Whereas instead of you recording what happened, recording the sound and the performance, you're just recording the performance. All MIDI wants to know what note you hit, how hard you hit it and how long you hold it down. And I can store all that information and I'll play it back in real time. So that'll do it for me. So now I can play something else.
Yeah.
So now I can play all of these things and layer them. So what happened was a cat, instead of having to go to a studio and pay $200 an hour for 40 hours, they could pay me $75 an hour for most of that time. And they would do 1 3-hour transfer session, and in one fell swoop, transfer all the stuff that was done in the $75 an hour studio to the $200 an hour studio. Because it's not going to make a difference in the end. You're paying this $200 an hour for all of this stuff. You don't need all of this stuff until you get into the final mastering process. But it wasn't many cats at that time that could do that had that kind of a rig. And all that, I mean, if you had a 20 meg hard drive, it was this big, and I was the man. You know what I mean?
Well, you were ahead of your time too. You were ahead of the curve. But and you definitely, man. I mean, you actually built your own studio.
Sure, it's not hard to do. It's just it's hard to sift through. If you learned old school like I did, then it's easy because you understand what needs to be done. You understand the components that you have and how they have to interact. All of the particular brands and all of the protocol that they go through and the connectors and connections and all of that, it don't mean anything to you.
Now, man, last time I was at your crib and you were playing some of the tracks that you laid down. I mean, you got all this great music in the box. Do you ever want to get it out and, you know what I'm saying? It's like, whoa, man, put this.
Oh, sure.
I mean, how do you manage being Vince?
It's coming. It's
okay.
coming. It's coming.
Man,
I'm hoping to become the first black composer for pinball.
Oh,
and I'm hoping to get, if I get this deal that I'm working on, I may end up being the sound designer on a pinball machine. Wow. And that would be huge for me.
Yes.
Because that whole field is that sound design. Once people seek you out for those type of things, you could live in Iceland if you want to. You know, as long as they get the files and they have your stamp and you create something that nothing's gonna have this sound unless we go to this cat.
Yeah. Wow.
You know,
man, that would be.
It's different from radio music where you just find a producer, everything is kind of cookie cutter, has a sound, as long as it has this thing on it. You know. So I mean, try to bring that musicality back and that kind of thing where people care about. You know, they could appreciate something that's been orchestrated. Something that's been.
But do you have a desire? Like, I know, how many recordings do you have, like, under your own name?
Under my own name? None, really.
Yeah,
I did some solo records and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you did. What's the one?
I did one record in a week one time for the whole record in a week.
No, because I played on one. That first one, it was one you did, man.
Yeah, that was a record. I did that whole record in a week, the one that you played on. Yeah, and that was really mainly I called it Emergence. Yeah. To sell on a gig.
Yeah.
You know.
So you don't have, like most people, most of us, we went, I'm working on my next project. It's gonna be out and such, and that whole process. Do you have that drive?
I do, and I have that desire to still. To do, I've not really come out and made a statement as this is Vince Evans, a producer, producing Vince Evans on all of these various things. You know, I'm not running from that, and I know it's coming. I still got time to do it.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm spread so thin between. That's the downside of having the love and passion for so many different styles of music. Yeah. I'm over here. I'm producing music for some children's books where they need compositions for. Freddie the Clown and his feelings and all this. And then over here, I'm doing like some country western stuff because they got a bonanza bar table breaking scene in this game that they need this thing for. And over here, I'm mixing the gospel thing for Fox and them because they need it for camp. There's a bunch of things pulling at me all the time that they all give me joy as well. Yeah.
And you definitely got the skills to pay the bills.
Oh, thank you. But each thing you do, if you're open to it, each thing you do, you learn something else. Even on your own equipment, you learn. Oh man, okay, okay.
And in addition to doing all that, producing, and I'm sure people call you to produce their project and produce songs, and so you also do you have a workshop.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now is that workshop still ongoing?
Absolutely.
Is that the Wednesday? Every Wednesday?
Yeah, every Wednesday, man.
How long
Wednesday
had that
workshop.
thing been going on?
Probably at least 10 years, I think.
Wow.
At least 10, 12
What was
years.
the impetus for that?
It was modeled after Barry Harris's workshops.
Okay. All right,
And you know, Barry has his workshops in New York. He had his workshops in New York on Tuesdays.
yeah, okay.
Right?
I used to travel every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, I drive to New York, go see Barry, do something with him in a day or whatever, go to his workshop.
Y'all developed a friendship?
Oh, certainly, yeah.
Wow.
And then leave there at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, get here, come back here at 6 o'clock in the morning, sleep a few hours, and then do my stuff for the day, and then give my workshops the following day. Many times teaching things I may have learned the night before, the day before. So my incubation period for assimilating all of this information probably was really magnified in that I'm spending all of this time in the car, spending it through on the drive home and going through the tapes and stuff. And then I'm practicing before I go to bed.
Wow.
And then I'm waking up, practicing the material, and then I'm teaching it the following day. If not what I just learned that night before, teaching in that realm, you know, in the same kind of thing. And doing that times 10 years.
Wow.
You know, I probably put another 50 years onto my playing in a year's time.
Really?
You know?
Wow.
Yeah, I learned more in that 2-year period than I had in the previous 40.
Wow.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Barry Harris, okay, y'all developed a kind of a friendship or a close, and so what do you think about your playing and your music? How do you feel about it?
I think he likes me. You know, he calls me his son. I call him father.
Okay.
You know? But you know, we're kind of funny in that. How can I say this? You know, it's like when Barry got to where he was, he was very angry because Milt Jackson made him mad.
Milt Jackson?
You know, he was just coming up, He was just coming up in Detroit, you know, as a piano player and stuff. And the story, as he told me, was Milt Jackson was coming in town. Everybody was excited, and his piano player hadn't arrived yet. And his friends told him, Barry, you go on up there and play with him. You know, you go play with him. And he said he got on the bandstand and they were playing some blues or something, and Barry played a couple chords. And he said that Milt Jackson gave him a look of disgust. You look just like, he said it hurt his feelings.
Wow.
He said it crushed him. He said, man, he was so mad. He said, I'm going to show him. He said he could have told me to stop playing. He could have said something, but he didn't have to look at me like that.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
Milt Jackson was cockeyed,
Yeah.
so it might not have been his fault. He might not have even meant anything behind it. Who knows?
That's
you know
cool.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But he didn't have to look at me like that. So
Wow.
Barry was so upset. He said, I'm going to show him. And he said, and that's what I did. I showed him. I got so mad. He used to say, get mad, scratch your ass, and get glad. You know? So he's got this whole thing where he was challenged, and you get so upset that you go home and you obsessively practice and you get better just to show that you ain't no punk.
Yeah.
He tried to run that game on me, and I'm like, you don't have to run that on me. I drove 6 hours to be here, man. I'm ready for class.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not in that same
Yeah.
situation. I don't need to get mad at you
Yeah.
to go home and practice. You know?
That's funny. Yeah.
So we get in these little things all the time. He likes to belittle people sometimes and berate them sometimes, but always always in jest.
Yeah.
But there's times when, like, for instance, everybody's scared of him. He's a great Barry Harris. And, you know, like, you know, I don't,
Yeah.
you know, I've been with the Queen of England presidents and all this. You just a man, you know.
Yeah.
So we sit there in the class, and he'd be giving his classes. Somebody play me a B flat major 7 chord, you know. You know, and I'm sitting at the piano. We're 3 of us deep on the piano because they got one piano and they got all the piano players right here. I'm one of the 3 piano players, ain't scared enough to be on the instrument, right? So I'm sitting up there. He said, play me a B flat major 7 chord. The other cats, they sit on their hands. You know, so I played the B flat major 7 chord here, man. He said, now see, there you go. Oh, then you want to play all up high on the piano. All you piano players just want to play high on the instrument. That ain't right. You know, he barking at me. So I barked right back at him. I said, man, I played it there because that's where I'm sitting at. Then he said, I know. You know, but that's all funny little moments where it's like, you know, he beefing at me. I'm like, come on, bring it on, man. You know, and he like, I know. You know, just between me and you.
Yeah. That's hilarious, man. Yeah. Oh man, that's hilarious. All right, man, we winding down. We're gonna talk about some of your hobbies. This is what we get.
Some of my hobbies. Oof.
And just we're only going. Not all of them. You know, you have a variety of hobbies that you enjoy.
Yeah.
We want to touch on a few. The first one is we talked about was your magic.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how'd you get into magic?
The film Houdini with Tony Curtis in it and Janet Leigh.
Oh, really?
When I was little, I saw that movie.
How old were you?
Maybe 6 or something.
Yeah.
6 or 7.
My oldest son, Elijah, man, went through a period where he was, studying magic. And this cat would, for hours, he would be in front of, it was like, wow, man. I'm talking about he would spend 4.
You should have told him to call me, man.
Yeah.
He could have showed me some stuff.
He was really into it, man. For hours.
Yeah.
And he's engineering now, man. He's mixing his stuff and he's really talented cat. He just know everything and I don't know anything. But yeah.
Well, I saw that film, man, and I started getting into the whole idea of being an escape artist, right? In my little self. So for amusement, when we were on R Street, the house we had a little bar. Mm-hmm. And for entertainment, you know, I used to get all the little magic kits with the rice bowls and the milk pitcher and the cups and balls and the egg vase and all of those things, penetrating thing, and I would give a magic show.
Wow.
And then
for your family?
Yeah, for the family. I would perform. Wow. I would put the show on.
Oh,
and
wow.
then for the finale, the grown-ups would tie me up with rope. And I remember my brother-in-law, Bubba, my mother would be hollering, boy, you're choking. You're going to choke him. You're going to choke him. It's too tight. And I'll be hollering, I'm all right, Mama. I'm all right. It's okay. Go ahead. Make it tighter. Oh, wow. They would tie my little ass up and roll me back behind the bar. And I would escape and ta-da, fling the stuff up in the air. And they still to this day cannot imagine, like, how could you get out of this? So that was the beginning of my magic.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot of fun.
Okay. Now, you also mentioned these pinball machines.
Oh, yeah.
How many pinball machines you got now, man?
Right now, I have 12. I have 12 in my basement.
12 pinball machines. And I remember...
Spanning from 1976 to 2021.
Wow. I remember as a kid, we had a corner store, and they had all the different games, Stargate, Defender, Donkey Kong, and pinball machines, man.
Yes.
And we put the quarter in,
Yeah.
And do they still have places like that?
Yes. There's a few places here. There's Lyman's Tavern in D.C. Yeah. There was a spot called VOOK, which stands for Vertical Up Kicker, which is a device used in the pinball machine. That was in Bethesda, but they've just recently closed. But the owner of that, who also owns many of the Moms Organic Market, the one on Rhode Island Avenue down there, a lot of those machines have migrated to there. So they've got about 30 machines in there, man.
Okay.
And in the back room.
So do they have pinball competitions and all that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So people
they've been off really this because of COVID, this last year or whatever. But the Texas Pinball Festival, and there's an IFPA ranking that you can get and all this kind of stuff. There's World Pinball Championships. There's a friend of mine. His name is Justin Bath. He plays professionally and has known many of the game designers and creators and co-creators over the years and played with them, as coming up in the ranks. And if you go to any place that has a pinball machine within 300 miles of here, you're going to see JUS or JUSPG up on there, and that's my man. That's him.
Wow.
And that boy, he played like he just washing dishes.
Really?
You won't see him going crazy. He's very cool, calm, collected, calculated. And so just like in table tennis and magic and all that, having a mentor, like you mentioned, like learning all of these things by watching masters. He's a master. And he'll come to my place and practice and gear up because I keep my machines pristine.
He comes to your house?
Sure. He comes to my house
Wow.
and practice up. Because all my machines going to be, they're going to be freshly waxed, clean, everything's operating right and all that. It's not like, and he'll get his skills up whipping on me.
Yeah.
And then I'll come whip on you. you know?
and it looks like a game room down there, man.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's real. It lights up, and you got the lights and the.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't think you've been there since I put the ceiling in the. I put a special ceiling in the what I call the B room.
Yeah.
Because the A room has all the games running through 15-inch subs and all that.
You gonna run out of house.
Well, I'm building on. I'm expanding.
Okay, beautiful, man. So, wow. And lately, we've been watching you on Facebook, man. Especially since most people been in the house during the COVID thing. You become a chef,
Slinging
man.
pots.
I sit up, man. It's very therapeutic. But I sit up. I be working on some music, and I'm watching you have a cooking thing, live cooking. Do you have a name for it?
It has been. I'm gonna do, man. I might just say Vince Evans Cooking Show. And what I'm doing is, I haven't done it yet, but I've got the assets lined up. I just got to find the time to put it together, do it. But what I'm gonna do is make them segmented like a show and have opening music and have guests like yourself and present your music and you playing and stuff as the backdrop while I'm showing the ingredients and have voiceovers and have it done up really like a show. I have the technology to do that. But what I've just done on Facebook Live is just
But
feed the waters for that. I'm just cooking in real time. So if I'm spending 4 hours, it's gonna take you 4 hours to watch it. Or you just scroll forward,
But what we love about it, man, is, I guess it's your personality coming through with the cooking. It's not just we're learning and how you do this, but you explain. Okay, when you following your knife and you do it this way and you don't go against the
Right.
So you're teaching, and so all of that experience is like around cooking, and we get to learn a lot about just your personality is coming, and that's like, man, I find myself sitting up, man, just watching it, man.
I've learned a lot from a lot of great people, man. There was a cat named Brother Bay that taught me how to chop. Brother Bay taught me how to chop a tomato, man. I used to.
Wow.
He's the one that taught me always put your knuckles out, fingers in.
Okay.
And I chopped for the healing, the Institute of Healing, and those places that he had for a whole lot of people and stuff, man, and just be doing prep work for him and stuff. So I've been.
So you eat
behind the scenes doing
good, ain't you?
Oh, I eat.
You got all this.
Man, excellent, man. I had the best ingredients.
Yeah. Another thing that I'm glad I thought of this. What I learned from you watching you, you're very organized.
Yeah, gotta be. I got too much stuff.
Yeah, and I look at that, man. I said,
remember when I had that apartment, man? I had stuff. Everything was elevated, right? Because I didn't have no floor space.
Yeah. But
everything had to be stacked on the wall. But I had bread makers and ice cream machines, blenders and mixers.
And but I admire that, man. It's like even you come in your refrigerator, you got stuff you cooked in bags.
Well, remember that comes back to the engineering background too. Like we said, all engineers, any engineer worth their salt, if nothing else, they're organized.
Okay.
Because if you don't label them files when you put them down, you're gonna end up with 367 files that say audio 361, audio 378.
Yeah.
Label them first.
Yeah.
Organize them first. If they're bad takes, get rid of them.
Wow.
I don't want 999 levels of undo.
Yeah.
Commit.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna throw it away and trash it. I don't want all of this stuff to sift through 6 months from now or whatever. It comes down to that.
You could teach a class on organization.
Yeah, I certainly could.
Yeah, man. I mean, because I would take that class. Mm-hmm. How to because you could be more productive.
Right.
And effective.
Absolutely.
Just being organized.
Absolutely.
That would be a class that you could, and I watched you, man. I was like, wow, if I could have some, some of that.
If you walked in my kitchen and just saw it would seem things would be seemingly just in disarray. Like, how does anybody know where anything is?
Yeah.
You know, but I don't have to know exact places. I know vicinities for certain types of things.
Yeah.
And once I get there and I start going, and I just flow. Wow. It's just a flow. It's just like, okay, boom, 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 close the door. Boom. I know you know the kitchen. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like you know your space.
And you even got cats outside, and you get them some
Oh yeah, of course. My cat Patches would come in the window, jump up on the rail, and then jump from the rail and up to the window and sit there and supervise. You know, I give her some treats every now and then or whatever. But that was my girl, man.
Wow. How many cats you got out there?
Right now, there's really 2 main ones, but they just had babies, and there's 3 kittens. Okay. 3 little tiny kittens. You know, and they're just at the stage where they're just being seen. But at one time, I was like Monk, man, like at Monk's place, man. I had 23, I think. It was like 21 or 23 really? At one time. Wow. And they all, you know, been weeded down and gone down. But none of them came in the house. None of them were house cats. Yeah. But then my neighbor across the street, she stole 2 of the cutest ones that I really liked that were cool. She came and got them and wanted to have them and stuff. So, and I let her have them. And then she didn't know that when I was pregnant, so now she got 3 other kittens or something like that over there. Yeah. And then she trying to find she got allergies and all this. And then she trying to, and I'm like, nah. That's yours over there. Yeah. They stay on their side of the street. Stay on my side of the street.
All right, we have some final questions.
Yeah.
Coming to the end. First of all, how are your parents doing?
Man, my parents are wonderful, man. Yeah, they're wonderful. They done it's great. My dad just turned 90. My mom just turned 87.
Wow, they've done a wonderful job, man. You know, y'all turned out.
They have some creative ways of disciplining us. I got you. Especially my mother. Because my mother's the one with the real sense of humor.
Are your parents proud of their children?
Oh, of course. Yeah, both of them highly proud of all of us.
Yeah.
And all of us are proud of each other.
Yeah.
I
love that, man.
It's a proud family.
That's what it's about, man.
Yeah. And you take a picture with us, what you see that's what we are.
But that's a model of how things are supposed to be, man. Where you know, supporting each other, your siblings, and wanting the best for them, right? And the reciprocity and all that.
Yeah. No, everybody's always looked out for me. You know.
Okay, so you have 2 sisters.
I do.
I don't have any sisters.
A dark one and a light one. Or as we say, a Japanese one and a Hispanic one. But my mother looked like she had one of everybody. I'm like the Indian, and my brother's like the Arabian, and my sister's the Latino, and the other sister's the Blackanese. You know, it's like they all look like they all came from different mothers and fathers. Now,
Tony, she's the oldest. I've never met Tony. Okay. I never met her. So how is your relationship? Is your relationship different with each of your siblings?
Of course it is. Yeah. Okay. With Tony, I mean, you know, Tony, I was Tony being the oldest and me being the youngest. I was like her baby. I was like her child.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? Because you know, it's like Tony would watch after me all the time. And when Tony got married, I was the snaggletooth ring bearer. You know, at her wedding, I was 3 years old or whatever, bringing the ring up the aisle and all that. You know, so. You know, Tony always loved me as if I was her child.
Wow, beautiful.
You know, and then my brother, his relationship, both of us also having the experience of working for my father and learning what work was.
Okay.
You know, I had to tell you the story about my father that we always knew that I was going to go to music school and that music was going to be my life, my passion, career, and all that. And when it came time to have to get an instrument, that's when the Yamaha DX7s first came out. Before I went to school, I was like, dreading, I got to go down to my father's office and talk to him about this. Man, I don't know how you're going to take it. It's a lot of money. You know, and I was just hemming and hawing. I was like, Pop, I got something I need to speak with you. Speak up, son. What is it? I need to speak with you. Well, what is it? It's this keyboard. Well, come on, let me see it. And then what are you talking? And I'm like, man, this is going good. You know, and it's like, well, he's like, man, this looks nice. So, well, how much is it? I said, what? She said, it's $2,000. That don't sound like too much. That's okay. I'm thinking he's taking this well.
Yeah.
And as I'm turning to leave, he said, "I'll pick you up at 4:30 a.m. For what? To work. You ain't gonna steal it. You're gonna work for it. Work. Me?
Yeah.
He said, well, yeah, I'll pay you this much an hour, and you work. Go on a construction site, and you work. And when you get close, I might loan you a couple hundred. And that's what he did.
Beautiful.
So I bled and sweat and, got these traps and everything, working on it, building up scaffold bucks and, hard labor, learn what work was. Yeah. Just keeping my eyes on the prize, like I'm going to get that keyboard. And to this day, I still have that keyboard.
Wow.
And the case and all that stuff. And, always proud of it. So I'm glad he taught everybody how to work. He's a worker.
Beautiful. Now, this Kim.
Yeah.
She helps you run your, I know she was helping you with the Wednesday workshops, right?
Yeah, she does. She's always operated in anything I needed her to do, from a secretarial task to, I left this chord. I can't tell you how many gigs I've been on. I left this power chord and she got to do a drive-by and show up on the gig and throw it out the window and I catch it and go do the gig. Or I left this stand, or I left this, I need this cable. She's always there, and vice versa.
And your brother?
And my brother, he's just always there. Yeah. He's always there. Yeah.
So did you look up at him?
Of course. Wow. Of course. Looked up to all of them, but especially my brother. Anybody, like you call me a genius all the time. Say, man, that cat's a genius. I'm like, man, you haven't met my brother.
Wow.
You know what I always said about my brother? I said, that's 10 times. If I'm a genius, he's 10 times a genius I am.
Wow.
It's just you wouldn't know it. He doesn't carry himself like that.
Yeah.
Or whatever, but I know it.
Yeah. Wow.
He taught me to study, read, and do things thoroughly, and do things by the book, and write stuff down, get written down. It doesn't matter what happened. It matters what gets documented.
Wow. Beautiful.
Man.
Wow. So we're winding down. I asked you, how has this pandemic affected you personally?
Personally, not bad. It's not that big of a. It hasn't been a big deal.
It didn't stop nothing. You.
No, I've always had more work than I can do, and that hasn't stopped.
Okay.
It's different in teaching because if you're in the room, you can read body language and you see who's into it. You can see if they're absorbing what you get, if you're boring the people, if you're above their heads or whatever. You can read body language. But if you just got a screen of 16 by 8 grid and you just looking at black screens, half of them are muted. You don't know if they're muted because they having a bad hair day. You don't know if they just turned on the recorder and left.
Yeah.
You don't know. And then you put something out and you don't get that immediacy back. You're not really sure. You can't. It's hard to get a rhythm.
Yeah.
You're not really sure. Are they not responding because they're not understanding what I'm saying? It's
now, let me ask you this:
way.
Did this? Last year I've been teaching distance learning, and you done took it to a whole nother level. You got cameras.
I've been had that.
You had that already? So you was already.
I was ready for that.
Wow.
When everybody's running out trying to buy cameras, I've been ready. I've already.
You had cameras on this angle, from this angle, and I can push this.
Yeah, and hit this and do a multicam setup. Live.
I said, wow. So
I even have a teleprompter now because I want to have it where just like we're sitting here talking. If you're asking me questions, you don't want to see me answering you like this.
Yeah.
Even if the camera's just off to the side here, so I have a split signal coming in here. So I have a teleprompter, not to read a script, but just so that when I'm looking at you, I'm looking dead into the camera. So that makes a difference on a one-on-one lesson.
Yeah. Wow.
When I'm communicating with people. And that, it's work. If you can swing it and make that happen, it's worth the effort to do it. But then that gives me another project to do, to build something that holds this, that fits my piano, or that goes exactly where I want it to be.
Wow.
It's fun.
Beautiful, man. All right. What's next on the horizon for Vince Evans?
The cooking show, like I said.
Okay.
I had some music too. I had to have you play on this track. You're gonna like this track.
Okay.
Vince Evans Cooking Show.
I think you might have. I think you played.
I might have played it.
For me. Yeah.
Oh, that's killing, man.
Okay, so
so I might do like they did with some of the Squidbillies episode, where they had the same song, but it's like all different genres of the versions of the same song.
Yeah.
For the theme song. It's no restrictions.
Yeah.
I don't have to go by a certain time limit. I don't have to have any format because it's my show.
Yeah.
And the people that would navigate would gravitate towards what I put out are already familiar with me and what an idea of what they're going to get. So who cares if the show is 23 minutes or 48 minutes?
how do you know like what you gonna eat? Do you prepare like say, okay, Monday I'm gonna eat this? To
a certain degree, sometimes. Right now, I've been doing a lot of what they call sous vide cooking. Sous vide, SOUSVID. It looked like sous vide for you. But that's basically a hot water bath, okay? So basically, like a lot of times when you go in a restaurant and you get a soup, you think they making soup. Nah, they getting that stuff in the bag and they putting it in the thing and they heating it up, you know?
Okay.
Or it allows you to prep meals and then heat them up.
Wow.
Later, you know? So, for instance, if I'm gonna do rice, I'm not gonna cook rice 4 times in the week. I'm gonna cook 3 cups of rice. I'm gonna portion it in vacuum sealed bag. I have a vacuum sealed chamber that I can just vacuum seal it, put my name, and put the date of what's in there, throw it in the refrigerator or the freezer as the case may be, and just stock it up.
Okay.
So I cook rice 1 time.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, I do a chicken mole. I know I'm gonna take 5 chicken thighs in there. I know I'm gonna eat 2 of them.
Yeah.
So the rest of them get bagged up. That's bagged for the rest of the week, and then the mole sauce goes into another dish that I do, and it's stacked like that.
Wow.
So on these days, generally, I do this, but I'm always stacking.
Have you ever done Thanksgiving for the family?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We throw down. I got a cooking family too, man. My sister bakes like crazy.
Okay.
You know, she got a big kitchen and all of that. She cooks all the time. I cook all the time. My sister-in-law cooks.
Oh, wow.
You know, we cooking people. We cooking and eating people.
Yeah, you
know.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Last question: how can people contact you and learn more about you and what you're doing? You can look right in the camera.
Oh, sure. VinceEvans.com is my website. It's a little outdated, but you can find my information there. My cell phone number's there. My email is there. My email address is magickeys@me.com. That's MAGICKEYS @me.com. And my cell phone number is 301-412-2303. If I'm busy, I won't answer. But you can leave a message and I'll get back to you.
My man, this has been a blast. Thank you for
Man, thank you for having me, man.
Oh, thank you, man.
When you gonna come play some more pinball, man?
I'm gonna have to get over there. I've been working on this. A project, so it keeps me busy. But I'm gonna get over.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you got a new machine or something.
Oh, yeah.
I want to come check that out. But definitely want to get over there, man. But yeah, man. Oh, thank you, man. This has been beautiful, man. I mean, like, and we learned a lot about you.
Yeah.
Some things I knew, some things I didn't know. But I
got to go take back some of the things I said about you, man.
Oh man, yeah, it's all good, man. But yeah, man, thank you, man.
Yeah,
and and all the best to you, man. And there it is, the wonderful Mr. Vince Evans. Oh, my man. And this is a conversation in jazz, and we'll see you on the next one.